Have you ever wondered what it feels like to fall deeply in love? Is it just butterflies in your stomach, or is there something more profound at play? From the ancient Sumerians, who talked about passionate love letters, to complex psychology and love styles, love has always been a subject of deep fascination and mystery. What if I told you love is more than just a feeling? There is actually a science, art, and history that dates back to thousands of years that give us insights into what happens when we fall in love. In this video, we are going to talk about passionate love, the kind that inspired countless movies, poems, and songs. But how do we define this intense emotion, and what are the unmistakable signs that you're falling in love? Stay tuned to find out. Hi, I'm Stephen Antony, a medical doctor, psychiatrist, and board certified coach through Cleveland Clinic, Ohio. Our purpose on this channel is to make entertaining, cinematic videos backed by science, psychology, and a touch of history so that you not only enjoy watching them but also get smarter in the process. So hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and I promise to make it worth your while. So let's look at the 9 most described traits of falling in love. Here's an interesting bit of history for you. When the Sumerians first invented writing in 3500 BC, one of the first topics they wrote about was about passionate love. Do you want to hear what they wrote? This is what it said. Written in those Sumerian clay tablets was a poem dedicated to a king, Shu-Sin, by one of his brides. And she wrote, "Bridegroom, let me caress you. My precious caress is more savory than honey." Either she knew how to touch him really well, or the honey in those days was really bad. Well, since then, people have always been trying to express and even measure love. There's been about 33 different measures of passionate love, starting all the way from Leeuwengross in 1944, who came up with 80 items, to some of the more comprehensive ones, where Tenno and his colleagues used a series of questionnaires and interviewed nearly 2,000 individuals, and they identified a set of psychological traits which they said are being associated to falling in love. Now, of course, we understand that there are different types of love. Canadian psychologist John Allen Lee described 6 love styles, and he used Latin and Greek words in his book Colors of Love to define these 6 love styles. Now, he said there are 3 primary love styles and 3 secondary love styles. And as I go through these 6 styles, you may think about which style you like the most. So the primary love styles are number 1, Eros, which is passionate love, Ludus, which is game-playing love, and the third one, Storge, which is a friendship type of love. And then there are 3 secondary love styles, which is Pragma, which is a very logical shopping list type of love. Then there is Mania, which is that crazy, possessive, dependent love. And then there is Agape, which is all-giving and selfless love, maybe the type you see from a parent. Hendrik and Hendrik in 1998, they took these love scales and they went and conducted the survey on 1,000 people. And they asked, what is the most valued form of love? And for both men and women, they valued type 1 love, which is passionate love, more than any other type of love. So in this video, we are talking about passion love, the stuff that movies, romance, poetry, and music are made of. So you may say, what is passionate love? Let's just say that it's a state of intense longing for union with another person. And there are 9 traits that are most commonly identified. Trait number 1 you become monogamous. Falling in love is something that you can sense in the deepest parts of your soul. And when this happens, there is an inability to feel romantic passion for more than one person at a time. Now, why does this happen? Now, science says that it's because of chemically addictive substances that are being produced by the brain. Have you heard of amphetamine and cocaine? You would know these are highly addictive substances. Now, your brain produces something similar. It produces a combination, a cocktail of dopamine and serotonin, which are very much similar to amphetamine and cocaine. And this activates the reward centers of the brain. And when those chemicals flood your mind, it creates this unique euphoria. Whenever you look upon that person, you focus in on that person, leaving everything else out. And that is what turns you monogamous. As Aristotle once put it, love is composed of a single soul inhabiting two bodies. So that's one of the first signs you know that you are falling in love. The second sign of falling in love is you daydream. Daydreaming about that person often serves as one of the earliest indications. You may find yourself lost in thought. You may be thinking about conversations and dialogues and future plans and magnifying that pure joy that comes from spending time with that person. Now, as those feelings start to deepen and grow, you may even start to feel butterflies and anticipation as you are about to meet that person. This is a sign that you become fully consumed by the object of your affection, and that person has become your love object. As Sigmund Freud once put it, love is a state of temporary psychosis. Scientists also call it as intrusive thinking induced by monoamine transmitters. That's right, those addictive chemicals in your brain. Sign number 3, you idealize the person. Charles Dickens once said, "Nobody is perfect until you fall in love with them." Now, when you're in love, it's easy to overlook someone's flaws and focus on their positive traits instead. This phenomenon is called crystallization in psychology. And if you're really into science, I would recommend this paper here called Lust, Attraction and Attachment in the Mammalian Reproduction by Helen Fisher. Now, why is it that you are idolizing the person? It's because the brain is producing dopamine, which drives your attention towards what makes that person really special. While there is another chemical, norepinephrine, which increases the memory. So that drives the memory even deeper. So what's happening is you end up remembering all the good things about them, and you may even idolize and fantasize how the person is just so good. Number 4, strong psychological and physiological responses. When you're in love, there might be euphoria. There might be a feeling of spiritual union. There might be a feeling of inappropriate laughter, prolonged eye contact. There might be dilated pupils. You may feel butterflies in the stomach. There's a chemical reaction that's going on. As Carl Jung once put it, the meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. Your brain on these chemicals, addictive chemicals, becomes possessive, dependent, and preoccupied. You may even find yourself being hypersensitive, excessively jealous, or you may react excessively in the presence of that person to a point where you can almost find no boundaries. And that's a sign of falling in love. Remember, that's not you. It's just your brain that's producing those chemicals. As Albert Einstein once put it, you can't blame gravity for falling in love. There's a strong chemical reaction going on there. What studies have shown is that there's millions of years of evolutionary wiring that is associated with love and reproduction. And when you look at the scans of people, and when you get them to see the photograph of their loved one, the part of the brain that is activated is exactly the same one, the cingulate gyrus, that is activated during cocaine addiction. So you may be surprised to notice that when the person is not around, you may even have a withdrawal reaction. You may crave their company, and you may feel that something is incomplete without their presence. As the 13th century poet Rumi once said, lovers don't finally meet somewhere. They are in each other all along. So don't be surprised if you find yourself thinking about the person and you miss that person even more, because it's only natural. Sign number 5 that you are falling in love is momentary amnesia. You know the feeling when you see someone special, when everything else melts away, and it doesn't matter what you're doing with that person? That person just consumes your attention. You may overlook, you may ignore, or totally forget to attend even important appointments. That's the feeling of momentary amnesia, and it's one of the signs that you're falling in love. Now, this may even get you in trouble, but hey, as Shakespeare said, the course of true love never did run smooth. You will encounter trouble. Oops. Hey, if you're enjoying the video, give the subscribe button a little tap. And let's continue on this journey. When you subscribe, I promise to bring you the most interesting content backed by science and psychology. Now, let's look at sign number 6 of falling in love, rejuvenation. What does it mean? Well, it means that people start changing their mannerisms. They start changing their habits. Even their values may change. Friedrich Nietzsche, in his book Beyond Good and Evil, he writes, love transforms. It changes our history, even as it breaks a new path through the old landscape of our lives. It changes the way we are going to lead our life. So if you notice that you're changing your mannerism in the way you dress, in the way you work out, in the way you put on your makeup, in the way you act, if you notice that some of your habits are changing, if you notice that some of your values or worldviews are changing, that is a very common sign of falling in love. Sign number 7, prioritization. This is when you start reordering priorities, doing things to make the other person happy. You see, it doesn't matter what else comes in the way. You want to do something for the other person because they really like it and they asked you to do it. Things you would otherwise never do, or things you would imagine you'd never do, you begin to do for the person just because they asked you for it, because they have become the center of your universe. As Leo Tolstoy once said, everything that I understand only because I love. You begin to look at everything through the lens of your partner. Now, if you are the radical kind, if you are the kind that wants to create an intense emotional connection, if you want to learn the language to use that is coupled with powerful suggestions and commands that would create an irresistible physical and emotional attraction that goes just beyond the surface level appeal, where the person is deeply fascinated by you, intrigued by you, constantly thinks about you and misses you when you're gone. If you want to have this kind of an effect on people, then study conversational hypnosis for relationships. We have a program as well. You can check it out. It comes with a 7-day, no questions asked, money back guarantee. So you basically lose nothing and you get to sample the program. All the links are in the description box below. The sooner you buy the program, the earlier you can watch it. Now let's go to sign number 8, heightened empathy and sensitivity. When you're in love, you develop this sense of empathy towards the loved person to a point where you may even sacrifice yourself. You instinctively feel the need to support and comfort the other person, sometimes even putting aside your own needs. This could manifest in doing simple, small things like listening attentively no matter what crap they're talking about. It could be offering a shoulder to cry on, even when you're tired, or making more significant sacrifices, like even changing your life plans to accommodate the other person's needs. As Nicholas Sparks talks in his book, The Notebook, which has been made into a wonderful movie, he says, love is about giving, about caring for the other person's welfare. Sign number 9, time warp. Time flies by quickly when you're with the person you love. You can spend hours talking and never feel bored because there's that special connection between the two of you that makes time stand still. This is a sure sign that you're in love, because in love, hours can seem like minutes and the world around you can fade away. The conversation and connection is so absorbing and fulfilling that it can even alter your perception of time. The presence of your loved one makes every moment feel more valuable because you are in the state called emotional flow. Now, there's a lot of study on flow. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, he studied the state of flow and peak experiences and optimal experiences. When you're in love, you're in a state of emotional flow, so you never know how time is passing by. Now, tell me what you think. What do you think are some of the signs of falling in love? Do you think it's out of one's control? Do you think it's a conscious decision to love somebody, or do you think it's an involuntary reaction? Put it in the comment section below. And by the way, if you want to know why people fall in love, there's another video I've created. I'll leave a link here. You can go and watch it right away.